In our portfolio of over 200 companies that we analyze on a daily basis is a lot of hidden gems that you might never even have heard of. And one of them is, for example, Rio Tinto, a huge mining company with headquarters in both Melbourne and London. And so we're gonna talk about this company right now. I'm gonna give you an outlook because there's a huge opportunity coming up in that specific company. So stay tuned, see you right after the intro. Hello and welcome to another video by HKCM Global. My name is Joe. Long time no see, right? So I've been away on holidays for the better part of the last 2 weeks, and I did pop out a video here and there, but overall I did way fewer output than I do usually. And so from today onward, there will be more videos coming out, I promise. And today we're starting it off with a company that some of you requested, so that's why we're doing it, and also a company that I find hugely interesting because I historically began my journey in the investment sector as a real gold bug. Given my rather young age, it would definitely have been way more profitable to start off my investment career in Bitcoin, but somehow I was a little late to that party, sadly. However, being apparently a senior at heart, I started off my career as a huge gold bug. I bought gold and silver coins with every single euro that I had at the end of the month left over. And with that investment history in my backpack, of course, I have a certain tendency, a certain love for miners, even though Rio Tinto is not even a pure silver or gold miner, not even a majority silver or gold miner, but it is a majority iron ore miner. However, I don't know whether it's me just being a real old school guy. I think there's a certain attractiveness of such a business with huge, endless, bottomless pits and even larger trucks coming out of that pits, hauling dirt and dust and ore and metals. I don't know, maybe I'm romanticizing that business, but it just has a certain fascination for me as a young guy. I just think that's great. And if you yourself are a guy or you have children, especially boys at a young age, and they see a huge truck, you know exactly what I am talking about. But so then let's jump into the company. As just mentioned, Rio Tinto is a company with quite a bit of history. They are 150 years old now. They have headquarters in both London and Melbourne because Australia is the main origin of their mining operations. They have these huge iron ore mines, huge pits. And I also brought here for you a chart detailing where exactly Rio Tinto's revenue comes from. So here on the left-hand side, you have the revenue by destination. So that is the companies that they sell to. Also interesting here, China with 50% of revenue, but apparently that mostly stems off of their geographical location being positioned rather close to China on the globe. So at least way closer than, for example, to Europe. But what I found more interesting is their core revenue streams by commodities. So as just mentioned, iron ore, 59% of the revenue comes from iron ore. Another huge factor is aluminum, 24%. And of course, obviously, those numbers hugely fluctuate with both the price of iron ore and also of aluminum. Because if in a set year, for example, the aluminum prices rise by 30%, while the iron ore prices drop by 20%, even though they might be pulling the same tonnage out of the ground, the revenue percentages would, in that case, of course, shift drastically. Also gold with 7%, and then those three in total make up a total of 90%. So the other remaining 10% with a bit of minerals, others, and also 1% of diamonds can be somewhat disregarded. By the way, another fun story that you might maybe want to brag about at the next get-together of investors, if the topic ever comes up. Rio Tinto back in 2023 had an incident where they lost a radioactive capsule somewhere on the way between one of their iron ore mines and their headquarters. And that sparked a huge scandal because, of course, you cannot just lose radioactive capsules somewhere, even though you are in the Australian outback. That's a huge no-no. And what's even better is they didn't even recognize them losing that radioactive capsule that was transported on a truck until days and weeks later when there was a revision in their storage facility. So what they then had to do, they had to backtrack the route of that radioactive capsule, and they had to conclude that it was lost somewhere on this huge stretch of highway, 1,400 kilometers of highway, that they then had to search for that small tiny radioactive capsule that was lost and somewhere chilling out in the Australian outback. Somewhat of a funny story. And with the size of that radioactive capsule and the location where it was lost, probably the environmental impact was kept to a minimum. So that's why I feel it's somewhat justified to keep a little laugh on that one. But let's talk charts now. So for Rio Tinto, what we see here, we have Rio Tinto on the watch for many years now. And what we conclude in the overreaching picture is that Rio Tinto overall here is in a diagonal. So we have seen so far an overreaching wave 3 top back in May of 2021, and ever since we have been in a shallow but prolonged correction of so far 35% down already, and we conclude that correction is about halfway through. So you can see that upcoming there is a target zone that we placed in the chart with quite a bit of confidence. So that's why I said before, there's a huge opportunity to be had in Rio Tinto. And if you, by the way, want to get push notifications and daily updates on companies like Rio Tinto and also get a notification as soon as we drop into that target zone, down there in the description, there's a link taking you to our website where you can choose out of 200 companies, many different packages that we offer that you can subscribe to and then receive daily updates on those companies in those packages, and also of course commodities, cryptocurrencies, you name it. And then you'll not only get those updates, you will also get entries to our model portfolio. You will get push notifications as soon as we enter and exit target zones, as soon as we adjust stop losses or take profits. So huge benefit to everybody participating in the markets. And so far we are only about 10% away, well 11-12% still away from our target zone, well up until the upper limit of our target zone, right? That is not the optimum target for our target zone. The optimum preferred target for our target zone here would of course be the 61.8 Fibonacci retracement, and that would still be quite a bit lower. So if you, for example, are somebody who desperately wants to get into Rio Tinto, this up here would be your preferred entry point. And if you are somebody only aiming to get into the stock, if a perfect opportunity presents itself, it's probably better for you to enter somewhere here between the 61.8 or even the lower boundary to our diagonal here. And so for example, from current levels, this would still be a sell-off of another 30% roughly down, and only from here onward we would be positioned to establish a final wave 5 upwards move from here onward to take us in the area of 100 to 150%, maybe even a slightly bit higher, because wave 5s tend to overshoot in diagonals. And so in my mind, for a super solid old school bread and butter company like Rio Tinto, that is amazing prospects that I would not want to miss at a addition to my super risky crypto portfolio that I also have going on. And if the same applies to you, do not forget to subscribe to this channel, turn on the bell notification so you will not miss any updates on me giving you for free here on, for example, Rio Tintos and countless other companies, cryptocurrencies and commodities. I'd highly appreciate it. See you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.